Hello guys, and welcome to the third video of the summer series for this off-season, and this time we look at the 2016-2017 season after we watched or after we looked at the draft, and we saw who did uh, well or who didn't do so well. Now we look at the 2016-17 season, and to start off, we first start to see what was going on, what was different compared to other seasons in the off season. And the first thing was the league history spreadsheet was introduced, and it basically was a rousing success. Looking at this feedback from the message board, and interestingly, it was introduced in basically the same mm, the same shape or the same scope that it is that we know it today. So it was quite quite well made, and I think it's nice that we still keep it. Next, the offer sheets continued to be a hotly debated topic, and it was like really made a big question, considering that we haven't seen a single offer sheet yet at this point, but it basically got quite uh, uh, hot. And this take here by Mark, not to be mistaken by Mark, the owner of the Ice Dice. We had two Marks back then, and he basically was quite ranty in this post, which was like the height of his unhappiness, which basically more or less led directly to the next point, which saw the first two ownership changes and two new GMs. These were the Ramparts change owners, and the Upper Canada Patriots. So the Patriots got Jerry but he lasted for only one season, and the new owner of the Ramparts was Fabrice, who many of us weren't completely convinced isn't safe. So, but they're both have been replaced by new owners that we know today. So that's so water under the bridge, as they say. And the last point was the laying the groundwork for the salary plus term auction bidding. So basically, the bulk of the work for the current version of the sheet, which we dubbed 2.0 with Andrew and Jay, was done in this off season. But because it was quite a last minute change, we still had the old sheet for this the 2016 auction, and you see here the old sheet was quite less complex, let's say. And funny, look at Jay. He's on he's in all auctions basically. He didn't like Ovechkin and Marchand for some reason, but other than that, he was in on all of them. And Jay and his crazy auction tactics. But yeah, this was done this off season, and next season the sheet was already completely different. So next we look at the trades, but if we start with the bonus one, not the in-season trades, but before the season, even before the draft, this was a trade that saw the 1-5 pick, so the fifth overall. It was already known which this pick, how high this pick is, was swapped by between the Ramparts and the Ghosts, and the Ghosts got Brock Besser. So basically, this trade, I put it here first because it links between this video and the previous two, where we saw that Matt Tkachuk was one of the best 2016 draft picks, and Brock Besser was the closest thing the Ghosts have to a team legend. So basically, he stuck around longer than any other member of the Ghosts so far. And now looking at the trades that happen in the season, the first one involves the Steelers and the Flames, and this was pretty much a rental for Kadri for my team, along with Gerardi. And the Flames got some young players in Justin Bailey and Harkins. The greens here mean that these were farm players at the time of the trade. So, but this turned out, I think, quite good for my team because uh, I didn't have to ship out any major pieces. The next trade here is between the Upper Canada Patriots and the Ramparts. So basically, the two new owners here doing trade, and it was basically a hockey trade because no draft picks were involved, and some good players on both sides. Basically, it seems that Ramparts were high on Domi at the time, so they traded both Ehlers and Perron to get him. And I would say that the Patriots had the upper hand in this one, going back and or looking back. The next trade, we cannot do any trade rankings or looking at trades without having a trade that involves Markstrom and the Ghosts, or now the Millionaires, basically Jay's team. It's a well documented history already, but we see here that the Mighty Camels got Markstrom, Kevin Miller, Blake Como, and a couple of draft picks for Peter Budaj, quarterback, and Roman Polak. Basically, Budaj had a career season, I think, in this season, so Ghost traded for him, and he was like one of the hot hands that season. And you see here in brackets the picks that were involved became these players: Cliff Poole and Jan Drost, basically, and Christian Joes on this side. None of them have developed into solid NHLers, but third rounders are basically and later are basically dice rolls. And next trade on the list is a pure rental trade where my team gets Brent Burns, which he was basically one of the top three best contributors in the whole league that season. And to get him from the Vipers, I traded a first rounder, Busherman, Carter Hutton, and a fifth rounder. And that first rounder turned out to be the 20th overall selection, lucky for me. And it was and it was used to select Eric Brandstrom, but it was used, I think, by the Solar Bears, uh, their first pick, or one of their first picks after the revocation. But Brent Burns was really having a great season, and I think it's a fair price to pay for a so high quality rental. And the last trade was the biggest of the season, and it was between the Ramparts and the Sparta Warriors, and it involved um big big number of players on both sides. No draft picks, but basically the Ramparts invested in improving basically their skaters in while the Warriors improved their goaltending in this trade. And we see here that Sorokin is the main piece that the Warriors got, and he's still under contract and still a mainstay on their in their lineup now for the Cape Breton Oilers. And I think long term, yeah, the Ramparts were in their prime, so to say. So they used this help immediately to for immediate success. But I think the Warriors now the Oilers are pretty happy with having one main piece from that trade still on their roster. Uh, so next, how did the regular season go? So basically, uh, looking at the standings in the regular season, the Ramparts were the regular season champions, followed by the Steelers and so on. And it's notable that this is the smallest difference that we have seen so far in the 10 years of the league between the first and the second in the regular season. Only 2 points, and also this is as close as I have come to grabbing a regular season title. It was really a great season, and these are the top 10 contributors for both teams. These are the parts of extracted after the trade deadline. So you see here the rentals that we looked at uh, the trades like Brent Burns and Kadri and Kessler for the Ramparts. So basically, these are the top players for each team. And just to notice, my team was not really impressive that season, but we got really splendid goaltending from the Bobrovsky Murray tandem. It was basically their best years both. And Patrick Eves, he got 30 goals on a league minimum contract, and it was a career year for him. Basically, the work of the draw, or the I don't know some auction work. And next notable is the Norris. This was the heyday of the Norris. All five teams made the playoffs. You see them here in green, and four of them were very solid. So basically in the top seven, and Linköping and Wolfsburg were in the money in the regular season. So great season for the Norris. The risers, the risers compared to the previous seasons were Linköping and Hannover. The funny thing is that last season, when we looked at the previous seasons, they were both in the forwards category. So it has been quite a roller coaster ride for the fans of those two franchises. So one season good, one bad, one good, but I think that they cannot complain too much, especially Linköping. So looking at the other side, Odessa and Brooklyn were the teams to fall the most compared to the previous seasons, and both missed the playoffs. Especially tough for the Jackalopes, who missed the playoffs by one single point. So it's and overall this is just highlighted the not so great season for the Adams division, as most of the members of the Adams were in the second half of the table, and the division champion was barely managed to finish ninth overall. And interesting, before, like, I think Brad does some preseason predictions usually, and this time a couple of other owners also took part, and Vegas was favored to finish first, and Quebec was favored to the other favorite. This is the look at the Vegas lineup, or the main players on their lineup. You see here the Carey Price and Martin Jones tandem was formidable at the time, and also some solid players that Artemi Panarin, like, still there, like Duchesne, Hossa, really guys that were very solid in this season. But the Las Vegas Ice finished in sixth overall, so they didn't. The preseason predictions weren't uh, so accurate, or 100% accurate. And in the playoffs, what happened? First, it was the first consolation round, and it was won by this is the final in which the Mighty Camels won over the Jackalopes, and yeah, Clint could boast at that time that he still is undefeated in playoff in the playoff environment, no matter if if it's the championship playoffs or the consolation round. So the Mighty Camels are not to be eliminated. Uh, Moving on to the actual playoffs, and we start in the semifinals, and looking at Ramparts managed to beat the Las Vegas Ice Dice, who in the previous round upset the Steelers. And in the other semifinal, it was an all Norris affair between the two best Norris teams in that season, and Linköping managed to come on top in a close affair. And in the finals, Linköping won their first title against the Ramparts in a very close affair, and the Grizzly Adams finished third. And this is a look at on the top on the Linköping best top 10 performers, and the Ramparts, because we already looked at the first 10. These are the next 10. So you see here that Vasilevsky and Hellebuck are in the second half of their better players, and you see very Matthew Tkachuk here, like a rookie season. It really a very solid team. It's really no coincidence that Ramparts were on such a run back then. But the glory at this in this season was for Brad, and these are pictures from the cup celebration parades that Linköping put together or put up uh, after winning the title. So basically, a lot of ice cream and some booze. Oh, and just looking at the Grizzly Adams teams, which was the third place team. These were their main guys, basically very heavy Boston Bruins flavor in their team, like their top three players. And also here you see Jaromir Jagr still making the the some making the top players. So basically, some of the last hurrah years for Jagr. So that's it. That was a look at the 2016-2017 season. Let me know if you remember something else or some other comments regarding this season and how it and what it happened. And we are heading down the stretch. We're almost done with August, which means that we are very close to the auction. And we'll do a stream for the regular season schedule in a couple of days and basically start ramping up things in September. So thanks for watching and see you around, guys.